Hello, it's me, Elliot. I promise it really is me. It's the glasses, right? It's the hair. Yeah, the hair. So yes, my head looks like a potato or an egg or whatever you want to call it. I shaved it. I've always wanted to see what my hair looks like when it's really super short, and I decided to just shave it all off and start fresh. Some of you might be angry, some of you might want to write some comments now, but hey, it doesn't affect the way that I teach. Boldness does run in my family, and I know that one day I will probably start going bold. And I just wanted to see what it looks like in case that does happen sooner rather than later. But yeah, I'm going to start growing it back. But anyway, that doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the way that I teach or who I am. So let's just get straight into the lesson. And if the hair's really bugging you, you can just put like a sticky note on your screen over my head, or tell me to wear a paper bag on my head next time or something. Like, I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much for coming to this lesson. Today we're going to talk about some place names. You'll be surprised. So many students who take my course, when they send me voice messages, they tell me the place that they're living in the UK, or somewhere they visited in the UK, somewhere they want to go, and they often pronounce that place incorrectly. It's true, we do have some places in this country with weirdly spelt names, and a lot of the time the pronunciation is actually easier than how you write it. Like, it's harder to remember where all the letters go rather than how to actually pronounce the place. So don't worry, I'm actually going to make things easier for you today. You just need to try and remember how these places are pronounced. You might be surprised by my favourite one on this list. So many people mention this place to me in my day-to-day life because so many people have been here or want to go here or live here, and that place is London. So the common mistakes I hear are either London, when people pronounce it more how it's spelt with the O's, right? London. That's incorrect. The other one is Landon, and that's often because they don't know how to pronounce the sound, like in but. Now, I've done a lesson on this sound already, but essentially it's the schwa sound, which is like in about, or London, That's what happens at the end of this word. But just open your mouth a bit more. So schwa, open the mouth a bit more. La, London, London. Look how my mouth is changing. London. Tongue is very central for both of these sounds, very relaxed. It's just the mouth, the jaw is opening a little bit more for the first sound, and then relaxing and closing a bit more for the schwa sound. So London, not London, not Landon, anything like that, it's London. Next, I'd like to go through some of these places that end with st. Worcester, Gloucester, and Leicester. So the reason I'm talking about the st at the end is because this is going to make it easier for you. If you can get this st right at the end, then all you need to think about is the start of the word, the first part of these words, which is the more challenging part. So this S, T, st consonant cluster can be quite difficult for some people. And that's because we're joining two consonants together, which can feel weird, it can feel a bit like a mouthful and quite uncomfortable. I want you to imagine that there's a really long S sound. Like that, right? Like a gas leak or something. And then what we're going to do is cut that S out with a T. Like in to, today, went, so t. So we have st. Then we have to add a schwa sound to the end. St. Now you might even find that T starts to sound a bit like a D, like a D sound. And that's natural, that's just everything kind of joining together. St. So, let's try the first word. So, the common mistake I hear, people aren't sure how to pronounce it, is they think it might be like Gloucester, but it's just Gloucester. Glo. So we have another consonant cluster at the start. Gl, like in England. Glo. St. We know the st already, so that's convenient. Gloucester. This is actually a place that's not far from where I live, in Bristol. Then we have another one which many people pronounce as Leicester, Yeah, I hear it many different versions of this one, but it's just le, and then we have st at the end. Leicester, Leicester. And this one is famous because we have a certain sauce, which is quite famous in the UK. But let's talk about how we pronounce this word first. Worcester. So we just have a w at the start, w, like in wood. Worcester, Worcester. Now the sauce is Worcestershire sauce. So you'll find a lot of places that end with shire, like in Lord of the Rings, right? S-H-I-R-E. They just get pronounced as sh. So you'd have, for example, we said Gloucester earlier, but the county that Gloucester is in is Gloucestershire, Gloucestershire, Lancashire, Worcestershire. So we're just adding a little bit extra on the end to create this sh, which you might think is shire. Like you might hear an American sometimes say Gloucestershire, but in RP British English, it's just sh, Gloucestershire, Worcestershire. Now, many people get confused by this lovely, beautiful, amazing Scottish city known as Edinburgh. Let's say the most native RP way of pronouncing it, it's just Edinburgh. Bruh. Edinburgh. Short schwa sound at the end. Bruh. Edinburgh. 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 Norwich. This one confuses people because the spelling is Norwich, and you'd probably think that's how it's pronounced, but we would pronounce it as No.Rich. Imagine someone saying, I'm not rich. Norwich. And another one that confuses people is this one, which looks like GREENwich, but it's actually GRENwich. How about then words ending in ham? Let's take one of the most famous places in the UK, Birmingham. This is a hard word to pronounce for sure. So it's not Birmingham, which you might hear an American say, Birmingham, but we say Birmingham. Birmingham. Let that sound at the end of ming join to Birmingham. Similar with Nottingham. So it's not Nottingham, it's Nottingham. Tottenham. We all know Tottenham Hotspur, the football team. It's Tottenham. But many people will pronounce this with a glottal T in the middle. So instead of being Tottenham, it might be Tottenham. The glottal T is essentially cutting a sound out with our throat to create a kind of false T. So imagine you have this O sound. We're tightening the throat to cut the end of that vowel out, that O sound. O, closing the glottis, which is just in between the vocal cords, tightening it so that we cut the vowel out to create this fake T. Imagine you're kind of swallowing the T. Tottenham. It's a bit like being sick. Right? That's the kind of thing that we're trying to do. Tottenham. I don't think I really need to explain how to pronounce the really common places like Manchester. That's quite an easy one. Just make sure if you're going for an RP accent, you don't pronounce the R at the end. Manchester. We don't pronounce it as Manchester. Of course, we have Newcastle, which is interesting because in an RP accent, again, we don't say castle. We would pronounce it with an R sound. So the tongue is pulled back a bit more and the mouth is a bit more open. Newcastle rather than Newcastle. Different places in the UK will pronounce these places differently, of course. This is just how we pronounce it in RP, where we would say castle instead of castle, or we'd say last instead of last, or past instead of past. It's just a slight difference in the RP accent or many standard southern accents compared to other accents in the UK. Now, of course, there are so many other complicated places to pronounce. If you'd like a part 2, then please let me know and start leaving more places below. And maybe I'll make another one of these episodes in the future. But this is definitely a good introduction to some of the most difficult, yet still common places which are hard to pronounce. Now, I hope you managed to get through all of this without laughing at my head. It would really break my heart if you left me a horrible comment about my haircut, so please don't. I am human, after all. So thanks very much for watching. I love you all. Talk to you soon. See you next time. Cheers, guys. Bye.